Hey, Pod Pals, I've got a quick question for you here today before we get started. Is your podcast doing less than 1,000 downloads per episode? Sadly, 80% of all podcasters answer yes to this question, and I'm on a personal mission to get all my Pod Pals across this threshold. Crossing 1,000 downloads per episode mark is important, especially if you're trying to build a business around your show or use your show to grow your existing business. If you're ready to claim your spot in the top 20% of all podcasts, I've got a challenge to issue to you today. Try out my Download Growth Club for 14 days for free to learn all my best podcasting growth strategies with over 30 videos and live bi-weekly small group coaching. The 14-day trial is risk-free and you can quit at any time, as long as you're okay with continuing to hear those crickets each time you release an episode. So head on over to www.downloadgrowthclub.com today to start your free 14-day trial and start growing your show towards that 1,000 download per episode goal. What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are checking out Podcasting Business School. This is the show where I teach podcasters how to love their show like a hobby, but build it like a business. This is a podcast audit episode where I dig in with one of my Pod Pals, and we're going to talk about podcast growth, podcast engagement, podcast monetization, all things podcasting tips with this podcast audit. And today we've got Susanna from Say Yes to Fire, Financial Diaries of a Millennial. Lots of interesting keywords. I love the podcast titles with great search engine optimization. So I'm already a fan. I love what she's doing. I'm a part of the FIRE movement. I love crypto. Her Instagram feed is one of the most interesting Instagrams out there, in my opinion. Susanna, welcome to the show.
Hey, yeah. Thank you, Adam. Thank you for introducing me.
Yeah, all the way from the Netherlands. We are rocking and rolling. So I really want to serve you with this episode. Could you describe the ideal listener for your show? Like, who should really be tuning in every single time you release content?
Yeah, so of course, millennials in that sense, because we are the generation that we were left with millions of debt, student loan crisis, and basically not knowing what to do with our lives most of the time. And let's say my ideal listener, the people I'm doing this for, is people that are stuck in their money situation, in their financial situation, that they want to get out of these rat races, these 9-to-5 job that they hate, that they just want to be financially free to be able to do what they most want. And yeah, time is basically money in that sense. You buy time with money. So the listeners would also, let's say, be able to discover and like be willing to discover what's their financial personality, how does the FIRE movement works, what sacrifices you need to make in order to achieve your financial freedom, and most importantly, must be willing to try new things and know what they're doing and their risk appetite, like crypto, for example.
Yes. Crypto, I'm a fan. So a couple one quick definition. If people aren't plugged into the FIRE movement, FIRE, financial independence, retire early. That's FIRE. So that's something I'm very passionate about. That I immediately messaged Susanna on Instagram. I'm like, I'm 89% FI, and she like knows what I'm talking about. Not many people know what that is. And we're like, awesome. And we're talking about like, I drive a nerd car, she drives a nerd car. And we're like, yes, this is great. And then all the crypto stuff, honestly, probably the most entertaining Instagram reels in the business. And I'm a big fan of Instagram reels. Like, your stuff is really good. I feel like your brand overall is super dialed in. Your messaging, your consistency on Instagram, that all looks amazing. So when it comes to your podcast, like, where is the main pain point? Is it downloads? Is it how to monetize? Is it how to get your audience talking to you? Where do you want to start that conversation?
I think one of the things I realized that it's really working in my Instagram as opposed to the podcast is the fact that I can interact with my audience, that I can know what's on their minds so I can talk about that and help them as much as I can. So I guess the engagement with the podcast and knowing people's pain points, like getting to know from them, would be one of my main questions to you.
Okay. All right. I'm so glad this is where you want to start, because this is where I have so many notes um, on in this zone for you. So when we talk community engagement and being able to create a space for your community to interact with each other, to interact with you, you can interact with them. That's the ideal like money spot, right? Like that's where we want to be. So what I do is every other week I throw a party for my podcast listenership. I call it the Pod Pal Zoom Party. You've probably heard me talk about it before on Instagram. Everybody listening, and I talk about it all the time. So what I would challenge you to do is a once per month, start off with once per month, where you invite your listeners, you invite your Instagram people into like a Zoom chat platform or whatever platform you want to do. All right. And it's like a party for your audience, but they can connect with each other. You can connect with them. They can connect with you, but we have a theme to it. So with Pod Pals, my theme that I do, my process is I'll teach for 10 to 15 minutes. Then we do 15 to 20 minutes of what I call podcaster speed dating, where everybody gets to say what their show is, who they're looking for as a guest, who they're a great guest for. So people are booking each other on their shows, because we know as podcasters, it helps if we are on other shows. That helps us promote our show, and we pick up some of that audience as our own followership. So we do that, and then we do open question and answer at the end. For you, I think this just needs to be like a monthly millennial fire party. Like this is for people that want to learn about crypto, people that want to learn how to reach fire, and you are just doing a mini teaching lesson, but then you have to have that middle segment. Like part of the magic of this is everybody gets to talk if they want to. So you have to come up with that idea. Is it like I don't know if do you follow Brad and Jonathan from Choose FI? Do you know who those guys are? The Choose FI podcast. So their newsletter, they have the 1% wins of the month, my 1% better. So you could do something similar to that with people that show up for this, where, you know, what was your financial independence win of the week, of the month, whatever, or tip. And everybody that's there is like, oh, that's a great tip, I should do that too. So they all get to participate in creating the content. And then at the end, you could open up for Q&A, or some people that I train on how to do this, they'll do hot seats, where maybe the first person or the first two people to show up in the room, they get 5 minutes each or 10 minutes each at the end of the session, where you go one-on-one and do kind of an audit on their financial situation. So that, and one of the most important parts of this is you record it all and you put it out as an episode, because if you do that, then your audience hears it on the show. They go, I can't believe I missed this. I need to attend the next one. And you kind of sponsor the episode with the link to sign up for the next one. So these are always full. I don't have to go out and actively recruit people anymore for these, because my audience hears it, they go and they sign up. So now the sign up, you mentioned pain points. So the sign up process, you're going to collect an email. So we're going to build our email list with this. So it's name and email. But what I do is I have them fill out a checklist. I go, here is a list of all the podcasting pain points that I'm seeing in my over 600 episodes and 6 years in the industry. Check all that apply to you right now. So before they sign up for this, they are telling me what they're struggling with. So I know how to serve them with this. Like I can see what everybody's pain points are in that moment. And that way I can kind of skew my content towards that, so they feel really served. Down the road, if I have a coaching option, a membership, a course that will serve them also, like that moves things in that direction nicely as well. It kind of I call it lubricating the wheels of monetization. So I think you could crush it with this, and you'll develop super fans all over the world, because you're throwing this awesome millennial fire party once a month. And it's like a place to be. It's fun, it's engaging, and it's great content for your show. So how does that idea sit with you so far?
It sounds amazing, honestly.
Right. All right. I was getting worried because I was like, I don't know. I haven't got her to smile about this one yet.
I was already projecting the idea in
Okay.
the future.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
The only thing so maybe the only thing that I have been already like thinking about is time zones.
Good. I'm glad that you're thinking about this because I've got answers. So what I do is I will go. I said I do mine every 2 weeks, but I want you to start off with just one per month, and then as you start to fill it up, then you can add another one. That's an important progression because I'd rather you do this once and have it full than have to work twice as hard and have it half full. You know what I'm saying? So what I would recommend doing is an 8-hour shift every time that you do this. So if you do session number 1 at 8 p.m. your time, then the next month do it at midday your time. Do it at like 12 p.m. your time. Okay. So make an 8-hour shift so that you can accommodate different time zones. Or if there are a ton of people in the United States that are listening to your show, or that's who you want to target, kind of gear towards that. Or if there's another country, or if it's local, focus on that. So, but I would make an 8-ish hour pivot every time that you book it. Make sure that you have more than one on the calendar, in your calendar link at a time. So what I mean is book your first 2 1 month apart, so that if people see that first one, they go, oh, darn, that's in the middle of the night for my time zone. I can't make it. They can still see that next one and go, okay, but I can do this one. So that way there's always that chance of, if it doesn't work out with time zone, they see there's another option and they can get to that one, because otherwise we might miss them completely and they never engage in it. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So, like, to unpack this idea a little bit more, since you're on board with it, you got to think about what I call the irresistible reason why they want to attend. All right. So for me, it's the podcaster speed dating, because they get to promote their show. That's always good, but they get to get booked on other people's shows. So that's like a reason why they always want to try to be there. So for some brands, an irresistible reason would be a giveaway. Maybe you're like, I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm going to drop you, some ADA or some ETH or something like that. Or maybe like a crypto giveaway. People will be all about that. That might be the first time they ever experience crypto, and they'll remember you like, oh, I got my first, Bitcoin.
I like that idea a lot.
So I think, and then what does that do? It forces them to figure it out. Let's say they have zero crypto. All of a sudden they have to go, all right, I need to get a wallet. I need to get on an exchange. I have to do all this. And then what you could do is go, hey, and just in case, I don't know if you have any crypto at all or not, like maybe you ask them, like, have you acquired any crypto yet? If not, okay, here's what I recommend. Here's the account you need to set up. Here's how it's going to happen. Here's how it's going to end up and this is all live. And you're like training these people and showing them how easy this actually is. You could, in fact, do it all live right there. What if you did that? And you could just show people in real time, go, hey, pull out your phone, sign up for this app. All right, enter in your stuff. All right, I'm going to send you point whatever BTC right now. And you just do it right there. And like, wow, it's there. Look. And that could be pretty darn cool. So that's up to you. But something like that, I think people would be into. And then maybe it could be t-shirts or, a book. It could be anything as that reason to attend. Obviously, getting to interact with you, that's a reason to attend as well. Like getting to ask you real life questions in real time. Or maybe you have a special speaker or a guest on to talk, and that's the irresistible reason to attend. So there's a lot, but that's probably that. And then making sure everybody gets a chance to talk. Those are the two most important components of this, to making it a community thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So the other recommendation I would make with this is when you decide to set your first event date, and you want to have a fun name, It can't be, the word meeting is not allowed. It can't, you
Yeah.
don't put it in there. Like that, like that's why I call my my people in my audience, the pod pals. And it's kind of a fun name, and, pod pals Zoom party. Like, I know that you want to come to that. Like it sounds like a great time. Right. So you have to come up with, obviously, the word fire, crypto, Susanna's fire crypto millennial jam, or whatever makes sense. Make it sound like this is a party. This is fun. This is something that needs to happen. What I want you to do is you book it on your calendar link, and I want you to give yourself at least 4 weeks to talk about it on social media before it actually happens. All right. Okay. So mention it on your podcast. Hey, this is what I'm doing. Here's what it's called. Here's the date. Here's how you get signed up. It's free. Here's the giveaway. I'm going to give away, half an ETH or 3/4, obviously depending on what the market's at, and what your bags look like, like that, like I follow BitBoy Crypto on YouTube, and he's like, we're going to give away 5 ETH. I'm like, that's like, $15,000 to $20,000, depending on where Ethereum is at the moment.
That's a lot of money.
You don't have to dig in like that, but anything, I think that would be cool. But anyway, you promote what it's going to be about, what the giveaway is, or what that carrot that is going to entice people to come in and participate is. But talk about that for 4 weeks. Social media, do some of your world famous reels. Like, and when you do a reel to promote this, it's like, what is the question that people should be asking if they're the perfect person for this? I call it the have you ever question. Have you ever felt like, have you ever been confused about, have you ever been frustrated from, and it's a situation dealing with financials, fire, crypto, whatever. Have you ever wondered what in the hell crypto even is? I've got good news for you. On blah, blah, blah date, we're having the crypto fire millennial party, whatever you call it. It's free, be there. And that's like the text that's popping up, or that's the description in the reel. So having kind of a question, a preview of the answer, and then the call to action on where to go get signed up for it. I use the same formula to promote my podcast episodes once they're out. Also, like it's question answer episode every single time if I'm going to do a reel. So, but anyway, talk about it, promote it for about 4 weeks. And then the next thing is, I want you to, do you know what a ringer is? I don't know if you use that term in the Netherlands. So it's like, it's somebody that's kind of on your team. That's a friend, a family member, a business associate. Like, they promise they will be there. Like, I want you to get 5 of those people. They owe you money, they owe you a favor. And you're like, hey, I need a warm butt in these seats, just because the first time you do it, people haven't experienced it before. So you need some friendly faces. I'm like, I need positive energy. I need you to ask questions. I need you to get the conversation going. But then you record it, you put it out as an episode. Your audience starts to hear these coming up, and they're like, oh, this is a friendly space. I can ask her questions. It's cool. It's fun. Then they'll start showing up, and they're ready to party, and it'll run on its own. So the first time, you would have a few of your friends in there to help support you with the initial episode. Maybe it's a previous guest. Hell, I'll do it. Like, I'm all about this. I'll come to your first party. I'll be on there and be like, Suzanne, I've got so many questions for you. Like, let's rock and roll. Like, I'm down, as long as it's not 2 a.m. in the morning. I'll do this for sure. So is that all making sense so far?
Yes, it's making a lot of sense, actually.
Okay. And then you think, all right, I understand their pain points. I've gotten to teach them. You've got that expert positioning. You're actually talking to them. Like you say, it's even better than Instagram, because you're seeing each other and you can interact face to face, and you're going to have so much fun doing this. You build real relationships. And then, down the road, like when it comes to monetization, you do a workshop, you do consultations, you do coaching, put whatever offer you want out there. You understand which one of those offers serves the pain points that they've already self-identified and raise their hand and go, yeah, I'm struggling with this right now. You can put that in front of them. And this leads to monetization. And that's the next step in this relationship building funnel, is something like what we're doing here, an audit. And it just fits so well with crypto, with fire, with, your, like, I would love to see you do something like what we're doing, but it's like a fire financial portfolio audit. Like,
Yeah.
and you pick, like, I pick 3 zones, right? When I look at your show and I make all these notes, we won't get to all of it today because I have so many notes, but I'm auditing podcast growth ideas, podcast audience engagement ideas, and podcast monetization ideas. So you could, with your fire portfolio audit, it could be, obviously crypto, passive income streams, and debt, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like the big expenses like home, car, and food. Like, how do we bring that down? Like, all the lingo. I can nerd out on that all day long. So I think that would be super engaging content. Again, that goes out as an episode of the show, and it self promotes. It shows off you as an expert, as an authority. Like, this whole conversation wasn't created by me. It was driven by the questions that you have, that by the pain points that you have. And we're able to create this awesome content together and put it out as an episode of my show. So I think that's the next step. Once you get a little rhythm going with your monthly party, start doing some of these audit style, that's the next step. You bring them from there to here. And then, like, offer wise, coaching programs, services, what do you have available right now? Or what are you thinking about creating it for, as far as monetization goes?
I'm thinking about creating courses.
Okay.
Like, for example, like for both, let's say for my both service lines, right? There is the fire and there is the crypto. And there's people that like both. There's people that only is interested in fire, and then other people in crypto. So what I'm thinking right now is start with beginner courses. So understanding crypto, what do you need to do before you actually purchase a coin? You need to set up your wallet. You need to understand the technical stuff. You need to know how to save your private key. All of these concepts that are so technical and like are scary and are like a barrier to crypto, do it in that small course. And same for fire. Like, what are the first steps before you're actually ready to fire? Because you cannot just say, oh, I'm fire. I decided I'm fired today. I mean, that's really cool. Yeah. But you need to be prepared for what you're about to do. And
Okay.
I had to find all that out on my own. But now I know the know-how. So I was thinking on that. What do you think?
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Here's my credit card. Let's go. Like, I'm very excited about this because I was thinking along those lines too. I would love to see you do like a quarterly offer. I mean, you could label it as a course, as a workshop, as an event, as a coaching, a hybrid of all. I think with the crypto space and with the fire space, what I personally think, having traveled that journey as well, I think something that's an online course, but has the opportunity to do a small group coaching at certain stages, or even like one-on-one, because that takes our price up. All right. Anytime they get to interact with you live, small group or one-on-one, or maybe that's an upgrade. All right. So you could have a quarterly focus point, the first quarter of the year, that workshop or that offer is going to focus on fire. All right. People that want to retire early, they want to become financially independent and retire early. Mm-hmm. And your content and your show and your Instagram is kind of skewed a little bit. If normally it's 50-50 fire and crypto, maybe it's like 70-30 for that lead up. All right. And then you get people to sign up. You're sponsoring your show with the sign up link for the offer. And then you deliver on that. And you can do the done, the do it yourself, or the done with you. That's what Pat Flynn calls it. So the course by itself is the do it yourself. The done with you is you add on the upgrade, which has every other week for the next 8 weeks, small group coaching. And that costs a lot more. All right. So I like that a lot. And that is really easy. That's an easy transition from your monthly party or from an audit episode like this into, hey, at the end of the month, I don't know if you've heard about the workshop. This is what it's about. and since you came on, I'll give you $100 off or whatever. And like you give them a little discount for coming on and helping you create awesome content. But that feeds right into that. It's a next logical step. I like the fact that it's kind of a intro, and I would just alternate. So the next quarter would be crypto, and then fire, and then maybe the next one is fire. First one was like intro, it's intermediate, and then taking crypto to the next level. So you have 4 unique offers that you could focus on for 90 days, which I believe that's a good run up, and that's going to give it enough time and attention to let it sink into your audience. And you're talking about it on Instagram, you're talking about it on your show, you're talking about it on YouTube, your email list, whatever. And that's just kind of the focus point. If it makes sense, they're in. And I think you could do really, really well, especially, I say this a lot, coming from the health space into the business space. You can charge a lot more and earn a lot more if you are teaching people how to earn money or save money. That's big, because they see the immediate return. Like, oh, if I take this course, I'm going to, be able to reduce my spending each month by 50%. That's immediate money in my pocket that pays for itself. That's the way that they're thinking. Where I used to try to teach people how to lose weight and get healthy. They're like, I can't invest in that. I can't invest in getting healthy. My health. I gotta learn how to make money. Health is not important. And it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So how is the quarterly event offer idea? How does that hit you? The nice thing, if it's a course, you just create that once, and then you rotate through the offers, and it's just created once, and then the live aspect is the upcharge. So any sparks fly in there as far as ideas?
Yeah, I have 2 questions. The first one is about this quarterly, let's say, time frame. Why do you think quarterly?
What has you hesitant about that? Do you feel like it should be more often or less often?
What makes me hesitate is that my audience is really divided, I think, between crypto and fire.
Okay.
Some of them are in the middle, but right now, as it is, I think it's half and half. So I am afraid that if I put too much attention to one side, the other side is going to slip away. And when it's time for them, they're gone.
Okay. I mean, so you could still, as far as your content goes, you could still do a 50-50 split and equally serve the audience. And I don't know, I think that you could create a course for each one and have the upgrade to like one-on-one live coaching or small group coaching. And you could, whenever you have an episode that primarily talks about crypto, then you sponsor it with your crypto course. And when you have a show that's primarily talks about fire, then you have it sponsored by the fire course. And you don't have to have this quarterly rotation at all. Like, that doesn't have to be a thing. So if it makes more sense for you and your brand, you can just create the 2 lanes. And then when it makes sense, we advertise with those 2 things. Does that feel a little bit better?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Because like a natural question to me would be, should I niche down to fire and crypto, or I'm already at a good spot?
So how are you not already there? Like that, as far, are you talking about like your title of your show, or what do you mean by niching down to fire and crypto?
So how to achieve fire with crypto.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's a tough one, because one naturally led to the other for me, because I'm looking at resources of like, how do I increase my income faster? How do I get more return on my investment faster? That led me to crypto. And I'm like, this makes the most sense. So I'm all in. I mean, that's a question that I would let that
sink
and marinate a little bit and talk to your audience. Honestly, that's one of the best parts about getting your audience together live. Ask them. I do it all the time. I'm like, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? Give me some honest feedback. How many people here are anti-crypto or just not interested at all? And they'll tell you, and they'll tell you why. and just kind of get boots on the ground, have real conversations with people. And Matt, you definitely, like, FIRE and crypto are both really great for search engine optimization. I think that if you did anything, I would tinker with the show title to put crypto in the show title somehow. I think that would serve you really well, because there's not a lot of great crypto podcasts out there. A lot of, like, most of them are YouTube channels first, and then it's like the offshoots go to podcasts, but it'll come out like a week later, and we know that crypto a week ago and crypto today is not the same crypto.
No.
So I think that would be a way to explore it. But like, if, like, say yes to FIRE with crypto or something like that in the name, or I don't know, like, you know your brand better than anybody, but I think if you could sneak the word cryptocurrency, crypto investing, anything like that. Do you have that in your show description, in your podcast description? I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I don't know, actually.
Because it definitely should. As far as searchability, if people type in, what I want is, if somebody goes to Apple Podcasts and they type in crypto, I want your show to pop up. That's important, because you can serve them. And I think you're a really, really great resource. So, because they may or may not type in FIRE or know what FIRE is yet. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
So if we can have the word crypto in there, I think that'll pull the right people in.
On Instagram, I'm called Crypto Queen on Fire.
That may be an amazing podcast name. That might be the podcast name. Something to think about.
I'll think about it.
And honestly, rebranding a podcast isn't hard at all. So you go into your host, you just switch the name and under the title, and then you switch your image, and then you hit submit, and it's done. You're good. Like, it's not a big thing. And I definitely wouldn't restart a podcast or start a brand new one. That's not going to make sense, because this is the same thing. It's just, and hopefully this makes you feel better. Every show that I've launched, I have changed the title and rebranded at some point. So it happens to the best of us, because you realize it's kind of like there's this aha moment you just had, where it's like, the search engine optimization and who I'm trying to serve, this word, if I can just get that in there somewhere, it makes so much more sense, and it just feels good. And if you already branded as that on IG, personally, I would give it the stamp of approval and go for it. That's but this isn't a decision to take lightly. This is I'm going to think about it for at least a few days type of decision, see how it sits, see how it hits you. If you do decide to rebrand, I would talk about it on an episode or two before you do it, so that people see that new name, new image popping up on their subscription. They know what it is. So they're not going, what's this all about? How'd this person sneak in? That's not the normal image. So yeah, I would think about that, but I definitely think it'll help with search engine. And yeah, so that's something that I would consider. All right. I feel like we covered a lot of stuff here. We kind of mapped out your customer journey a little bit. I've got some ideas around that. We're not gonna have time to talk about here live, but I'll shoot you a few more ideas on just like defining the journey, because you're taking people on a journey, like reaching financial independence. There's a starting point, and there's a point that they want to get to. And I think if you're that person that helps them develop clear steps of that path, that's going to level you up. And anything that you create, it's going to make you top of mind as the person that they want to kind of, connect to get them there. So, all right. If people want to connect to you and they want to listen to your show, they want to, DM you on Instagram, let's talk about all the different ways that people can reach out and get connected to you.
Yeah. So the first way is very simple. You go on Instagram and you type "say yes to FIRE," and that's me. Nice. You can send me a direct message. I'm always really open to start conversations and make new friends. The second way is you can send me an email, sayyestofire@gmail.com, if you're more comfortable with that. And you can listen to my podcast, of course, Say Yes to FIRE, Financial Diaries of a Millennial.
And if she does change her name, by the time this comes out, I'll update everything. Don't worry, everybody. Don't worry. Honestly, Susanna, this happens a lot when I get people in this conversation. I bring it. I hate to bring it up because I feel like people are afraid to sign up for these sometimes. It's like, he's going to make me change the title of my show if I do this. But my heart is always in the right place, Pod Pals. You guys know that. All right. So I'm really excited for you, for your brand. I'm a fan. Like, I'm a legit fan of what you're doing. I see your Instagram posts. I check it every day. Like, honest.
Oh, thank you so much.
Because it's
really,
entertaining.
That means a lot.
I'm very interested in the topics that you put out there. It's great information. You're a real person, and you deliver all that in an entertaining package. Like, your reels are really great. I'm a big fan of what you're doing. So I share out her stuff a lot. You can, if you're into my world, you'll see some Susanna stuff. All right. So I appreciate you tuning in. I can't wait to see what you do next. All right.
Thank you so much for having me, Adam. So excited.
Pod Pals listening in. If you want to be like my friend Susanna here, sign up for a podcast audit. I promise. Well, I can't promise I won't make you change your show name, but if it needs to happen, I'll tell you. I'll be honest with you. At least you know this. Head on over to the website, www.podcastingbusiness.school. Get signed up for a podcast audit for free. And with that, I will sign off, send you out into the world, wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you on the next episode. Are you tired of hearing crickets every time you release a new podcast episode? Are you sick and tired of putting out amazing content, but having very few people actually tuning in each week? The Download Growth Club is ideal for any podcaster that is doing less than 1,000 downloads per episode. Are you feeling hungry to grow that audience? Then head on over to www.downloadgrowthclub.com and start your free 14-day trial today.